Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If you want to get a glimpse into who hates Russia / Putin and why, stick around. I will give you just a documentary here, just excerpts from a documentary, and you can connect the dots. I've been claiming many times before, I know much more than this documentary. This is just something to help you connect some dots. It is not necessarily about, Russia is just a country over there is too strong. Putin is an evil guy. No, these are just things to make you hate them and stick behind some interests that probably you don't know what they are. The interests are not necessarily, Putin and Russia and the Russian people. Is a resentment, a hatred towards someone, which is Vladimir Putin, who kicked them out of Russia, and they got banned from plundering Russia. I will use one documentary to help you enhance or find out just a little piece of the big pie and point out the perpetrators. So these little clips that I will play here come from a documentary called, and I will put it in the description box below, and it's called The Fall of Russia's Oligarchs Under Putin's Slice History, full documentary. It's a documentary long, it's 46 minutes, the documentary. I will not play the entire documentary. I will play just short excerpts, clips, with names of the oligarchs. And I want you to look into the oligarchs' early lives. And I will explain how these oligarchs somehow took control of the Russian nation and started plundering it, as they did at the beginning of the 20th century, after the Bolshevik Revolution. They were riding high in those times until Stalin started a little attack on them, purge, and then he was okay. And then the Russians took control of their country. And then after the fall of the Soviet Union, they came back and they again started plundering Russia with the help from their buddies from outside. That's how the privatization in Russia occurred. I will give you names. All right, so let's start with the beginning. As I said, this is a video, 46 minutes. I will not play, but the beginning, where it shows you the guys and the names of each guy who was the oligarch. There were some oligarchs as well, but they were overrepresented as a group. Here. All right, here is the beginning of this movie. You see these three guys over there?
We met and filmed these men over several years. In the 1990s, after the fall of communism, Mikhail Chernoy seized control of Russian aluminium.
Для умных, инициативных людей на самом деле было такое время. И кто быстрее всех перестроился, то поймал.
Initiative and intelligence. It was not like that. They got money to buy the big Soviet Russian pie. Who gave them the money? Well, Putin found out. And when Putin found out in year 2000, he got them all one by one, and they all fled. All right, I want you to go and check out who this Mikhail Chernoy is. All right, you connect the dots. Go into Wikipedia and look at his early life, his mommy and his daddy, and you're gonna find out. This is the first one. Look how he looks at it. Those who adopted quickly caught the golden goose. They didn't adapt. They were helped by outside interest banks and others with money to take over the Russians' resources. That's how the privatization occurred. The same occurred in Romania. So that's the first one. All right, this is another one. All these guys are not Russians, and they maneuvered Yeltsin as a puppet. And then when Putin came in power, he put them up. That's why they don't hate Putin. Here's the next one.
Две части людей. Маленькую часть, которая себя беспокоит.
You got it? Vladimir Gushinsky. I want you to look and see who this guy is. It's the same thing as the other guy. All right? Look how they make the first buck. Next one. Boris Berezovsky. Go and check this guy out. He fled to London. Right? That's the third one. Remember, all these guys were Zelensky Steins. Like Zelensky is in charge of the Ukrainian nations, these guys were behind Yeltsin's. All right, next. Now I'm going to show you some faces. You're going to recognize the faces, including Abramovich, another Zelensky Stein. How they laugh, plundering the Russian nation. Ready?
But it was not so much his triumph as that of the oligarchs.
Abramovich.
They were all there. Gusinski, Chelsea Football Club's future owner
Look at
Abramovich,
the guy in the middle.
Berezovsky, almost
These guys were in charge of Russia. These guys were in charge of Russia. They were laughing and they were plundering the Russian people. And Putin saw this. And let's go further. This is how they are happy and they're celebrating having Russia by its balls.
it was just what the oligarchs wanted, the chance to run the country as they saw fit.
They're not Russians, they're aliens. Look at their noses. And then he
One
appointed
of their
this guy.
first moves was to appoint one of their own, Vladimir Potanin, both Minister of Economy and Deputy Prime Minister.
И понимая огромный опыт Потанина в бизнесе,
So they appointed the governmental officials and they ran the country. And then this guy, Berezovsky right here, he appointed himself after he got rid of the Russians in the government. They kept Yeltsin, a drunk, and a hostage, actually. Let's go further. I will show you this guy. His name is Alexander Lifshitz. The Lifshitz is not Russian name, Lifshitz. You know what it is. So he was appointed former finance minister, and he's going to explain how he was brought in front of the oligarchs and what they wanted him to do. Let me show you. This is the guy.
Назначение вице-премьером и министром финансов. Сейчас я могу сказать, только по своему обыкновению, я никогда не называю фамилии, просто у каждого свои причуды, я и сейчас их не назову.
All right, let's try.
Но меня пригласили. Пригласили. И все сказали. Их было, я не помню, человек, может, 8-9 в одном из крупнейших банков. Все собрались. Вот. И один из них мне сказал прямо. Говорит, это мы поставили Ельцина, это наша страна, и вы будете делать то, что мы вам скажем. Я стал спрашивать, а что вам надо? Что вы от меня хотите? Они мне представили список требований,
A list.
включая согласование с ними всех решений, включая кадровые назначения в министерстве, без них ни шагу и так далее, и так далее. Ну вот, я спросил, говорю, а что будет, если я не сделаю? Тогда ты не будешь министром финансов.
Now
You'll no longer be a minister. In the next clip, I will show you one of the oligarchs who complains that they were plundering Russia and they were not sharing Russia. And he's going to tell you that the Russian pie is enormous. We could have just shared plundering. Let me show you.
Я говорю, не все же надо было. разделить. Пирог-то огромный в России.
The Russian pie is enormous.
На 8-то мало. Не показалось бы.
Got it? So this is what they did to your country. And now they want to come back, but Putin stops them. That's why they want to come back. That's why they want the Ukrainians to fight the Russians with the Zelensky Stein in charge. So they also brag about the Zelensky Stein beating like Daniel, beating the, I don't know, the whatever he was, the giant, with his little lie. Really? Another lie. I'm going to show you now Anatoly Chubais, how he was dealt with by these oligarchs when he tried to withstand their power. And he was also one of them. He was also one of them with a big Russian pie. Ready? Go. Let me put it here.
Sviazinvest, a huge and powerful telephone conglomerate, was up for grabs. Who was going to get it, and under what conditions?
В самом начале говорил Гусинскому: Владимир Александрович, дорогой, очень хорошо то, что ты делаешь. Только все равно будет тендер. Будет реальный тендер. Заплатишь на рубль больше — получишь. Заплатишь на рубль меньше — не получишь. И говорит: да, конечно, мы понимаем, все нормально, все в порядке, не волнуйся, все так и случится.
В один прекрасный день Анатолий Борисович, по-видимому, проснулся.
A good mood.
В хорошем настроении. И решил, что теперь бизнес будет... Вот с этого дня бизнес будет устроен в России. Будет работать по другим правилам. Не по тем, который работал до этого, да? Уродливые, неправильные во многом, но сложившиеся.
Я отдыхал у своего друга во Франции.
Look at this.
В отпуске на недельку. Приезд ко мне Березовского, Гусинского и еще одного человека, которые, собственно, приехали ко мне с простой посылкой. Борис, ну вот раз уж вы вот такой вот упрямый, раз уж ну никак вас не уговорить, ладно, бог с вами, мы договорились. Связь Инвест мы готовы отдать Потанину. Но вот следующий тендер, на котором будет большой объект, давайте договоримся, будет у нас.
Gusinski was interviewed on the radio about this encounter.
Вы летали с Березовским и Потаниным, Чубайсом.
Who is the interviewer? Rather, you recognize that weasel? Do you recognize that weasel? I do know who that is. Let me just get my face away from this. Rather, you know who that guy is? Go and check him out. When Putin smacks him, it's another Zelensky Stein. It's all among them.
Мне активно не рекомендовали говорить правду. Я летал поужинать. Это шутки, конечно. Значит, мы летали туда. Я могу отвечать только за себя. Вопрос ведь на самом деле касался не конкретного конкурса, а касался вообще принципиально правил игры. Правил игры на рынке.
Но после этого была довольно бурная дискуссия.
I made a video with that weasel that you saw there with the big hair. He's Jewish too, anyway. So when Putin smacks him, go and check that video out.
Словами Бориса Абрамовича. Он сказал так: ты, Борис, вы же умный
You're a
человек.
smart man. You know what to do.
Вы же понимаете, что мы вас уничтожим.
You know we can destroy you.
Я сказал: успеха вам, Борис Абрамович. И проводил их обратно на яхту, на которой они отчалили назад.
And that's exactly what they did. They destroyed their fellow. Let's move on. And then they appointed another half of their thing. Go and check. When you see this guy's name, please go and check their parents, their early lives, and you're gonna find out how many Russians they're involved. Not this guy right here, not this baboon, another one, the next one.
Among them was Igor Primakov, a former
Primakov.
intelligence apparatchik. His appointment heralded in an era in which the oligarchs started falling out of favor. Berezovsky became the government's new target and ended up the subject of a legal investigation.
Когда он был олигархом номер один и наиболее близок к Ельцину,
You got it?
ему было очень трудно.
You got it? We're gonna move on. And here we have another one. His name is, let me read it for you, Khodorkovsky, another oligarch. Go and check his past. He's also one of them. when Putin comes and says, come over here, you gotta pay your fair share, pay your taxes. And these guys were like, what are you talking about? And this guy from the editor-in-chief of Today explains. Ready? Go.
Chernai and many other oligarchs had been driven out of the country, but one still remained. He was young, energetic, ambitious, rich, in other words, a potential rival for Putin.
В Кремле стали усиленно считать деньги, деньги
Ходорковский.
И вдруг выяснилось, что у молодого человека, которому не до 40, лично у него, вот то, что за ним абсолютно записано, вдруг в кармане оказывается 15 миллиардов
$15
долларов.
billion.
А он еще при этом говорит, что он через несколько лет уйдет на пенсию.
Go and see how he made his
человек с
money.
такими деньгами, с такими ресурсами, в таком возрасте, с его опытом.
I tell you how he made the money. He had a little business and he's got some money from outside. That's how they did it. Through the insiders, Russian citizens of different kind of ethnicity and race, they bought the Russian economy. They bought the Russian industry, the resources, and they were riding high. And then Putin came and they all scattered when he said, how did you make this money? You have to pay your taxes. And they fled, some in Germany, some in Spain, some in Great Britain, some did not get a chance to leave. And now they hate Putin because he kicked them out. That's the reason why Zelensky, Blinken, and others love Putin so much.
И с его амбициями. Что он будет делать, что он сможет сделать? Он же купит завтра всю Государственную Думу, прокуратуру, таможню. Что захочет, то и купит за эти деньги. И будет делать все, что хочет. Это просто всех сильно напугало насмерть.
Вы увидите, что в институте, который считается готовит...
Khodorkovsky was first of all taught a lesson in public in front of the TV cameras.
Для нефтегазовой. И ваша компания, допустим, у нее были проблемы с уплатой налогов, но надо отдать должное руководству компании ЮКОС. Так? Она договорилась с налоговой службой, приняла все претензии и закрыла все проблемы, закрывает все проблемы с государством. Ну как-то эти проблемы возникли. Может быть, именно поэтому в налоговую академию 4-5 человек идут. Понимаете? Вот поэтому я возвращаю вам вашу шайбу, так? И думаю, что правильно, вот все-таки Михаил Борисович сказал, что, наверное, и бизнес-сообщество приняло участие в создании ситуации, в которой мы сегодня находимся. Но самое главное в другом, что нужно, все мы понимаем сегодня, да, что это мешает уже. Это мешает развитию страны и развитию бизнеса.
All right. When you read these guys' the names, and I got one more, the big chess player, who's also Jewish, Kasparov. When you hear Garry Kasparov talking about against Putin, it's because he was kicked out like everybody else from the same group. So why do they hate Putin? He kicked them out. They were plundering, sucking Russia dry, as they did from 1918 after the Bolshevik Revolution until about when Trotsky was kicked. When Trotsky was kicked out, they kind of like lost power, even though Kaganovich, Yogoda was still there. And then in 1953, they took care of Stalin. They took care of Stalin. And now they want back to suck Russia dry. But Putin saved them. Now you know why they hate him. And why we're supposed to also hate our European for these guys, these aliens. Now let me show you this baboon called Garry Kasparov, former chess player, grandmaster. He's one of them. His tribe, first, Russians need to be sucked dry. Right there. When you hear and you see this guy, Garry Kasparov, look at his father and his mother, okay? You're gonna find out who is this guy and who is his interest. What is his interest? Right there. And he's gonna give us a lesson of democracy.
Диалог с властью идет Ходорковский сегодня.
Ходорковский надо Jew.
Это тот диалог, который хочет вести власть. Диалог с властью возможен будет, когда на улицу выйдут сотни тысяч людей. Тогда эта власть будет разговаривать. От нас зависит то, чтобы оппозиция стала реальной оппозицией. А реальная оппозиция имеет одну цель. взять власть в стране. Другой цели у оппозиции никогда не бывает. Все остальные разговоры – это разговоры для бедных.
Поэтому идея, что...
All right, my friends? Well, I hope that you learned something from this and you connect some dots. I didn't pick this documentary. It was just there. It just gained information, and I would like to share it with you so you can connect some dots. There's no wonder why you see Michael Douglas loving Ukraine, when you see Ben Stiller loving Ukraine, when you see, I don't know, Jerry Springfield, what's his name? Jerry Springer loving, not Jerry Springer, what's his name? He's Jewish as well, nevertheless. Jerry, all these guys loving Ukraine and they're talking about Ukraine. They have Zelensky, one of theirs over there, in charge of Ukraine, plundering with Zhmyhal, plundering with Yermak, plundering with, what's his name, Reznikov, who's gone, the former Ukrainian defense minister. They want back in Russia. Do you know any of them back in Russia? No, it's Lavrov. Lavrov is not one of them. Peskov is not one of them. What's his name? Gerasimov, General Gerasimov, not one. Putin is not one of them. Maria Zakharova is not one of them. Pushin, whatever, is not. The chief of the security is not. They are not there. That's the big problem with Russia. Russia cannot be plundered. Like United States of America. United States of America is plundered by them. It's owned by them. Look what they do in the Middle East. I'm talking about the Americans. And for whom? For our interest? No, for their interest. So I hope this helps you understand why they want Putin out. It's for the same reason they hated the Pharaoh, the Egyptians, the same reason why they hated the Babylonians. The same reason why they hated the Greeks. You remember the Purim and others? All these Purim and the Passover are their victories against others. And they celebrate it. And who others might be? I think at one point they were the Greeks, our ancestors, our part of the civilization. And they celebrate it. And we respect their right to celebrate our decimation, our genocide. All right, my friend. I think now, if you didn't know this, now I want you to look deeper into this. I don't want you to believe anything I said. Nothing. I want you to go and get each of these people's name. And there's no extra names over there. It's Yeltsin, Putin, and one or two others. These are the names. And this, whatever, I'm going to put it in the description below. This slice history is not like a, clan history or, I don't know, David Duke history or whatever they might want to portray it as. These are names. These are people. These are facts. You can verify it. I want you to put a little effort and take your cock out of it and go and verify it. Check. And you're going to find out their names, the real guys. They were kicked out by the Russian Putin, and that's why they want back. And they want the Europeans to fight the Europeans, which are the Russians, to do what? To destroy one another the same as they destroyed your Jesus Christ. Remember, Jesus Christ was not killed by Romans because the Romans had a problem with him. They considered Jesus Christ a thug over there, a little guy who yaps too much. But nothing like a criminal offense. But those guys brought Jesus and said, you need to crucify him. And what did he say? Pontius Pilatus, I wash my hands. I don't see anything wrong with this guy. You need to do it. Otherwise, we're going to tell Caesar. Blackmail. And they did the same and the same and the same. And even now, if you don't agree with them, you're an anti-this, anti-that. You side with evil Putin. Yes, he's European. Who the fuck are you? You side with Iran. You side with North Korea. You side with whomever their enemy might be at that point. And they will try to pick up the hot potato from the fire, from the coal over there with your hands. They've done this over and over again throughout their history. Balfour Declaration, Second World War, 1984, the creation of garbage, and so on. Even the atomic bombs. that were given to whom? From friends, and not only. Again, from us. And they want us to destroy us again, one another. For what exactly? So they can dominate. They can suck us dry of our, what do they say, the fat of nations? It's in their Old Testament. Who's that? We will suck the fat of the nations, and their kings will come with the wealth of their nations, and they will bring it to us, and they will be in charge of. It's in their little booklet over there, and they really believe in that. You know why? Because they think that God gave them that particular land, and they really mean that. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.